We're potentially weeks away from Google's next mid-ranger, which could provide some substantial leaps over the previous generation. Heck, it might even encroach upon that Pixel 7. And that's why we think you need to wait until the Pixel 7a launches before even looking or picking up a new phone. So let's explain why. Thanks for watching 9to5Google here on YouTube. Remember to thumbs up, hit subscribe and then tap the bell icon to be among the first to watch our upcoming videos. So Google has not officially shared any info about the Pixel 7a nor the launch date. Leaks and rumours though have done a fair bit and given us a clearer indication of what this next generation mid-ranger will bring to the table. We've even done a full video on that, so go check it out via the link in the description or that link in the top left. But for anyone that hasn't seen that video, here are some of the highlights. As you would expect, the design is going to adopt the Pixel 7 series new traits. That means a metal camera frame, polished side rails and cutouts for only the camera lens systems. Yes, Google will stick with glossy finishes this time once again, which is a bit of a disappointment from a finish perspective. If you are happy though to wait until the full release, you should be able to grab the Pixel 7a in at least 3 colours, including a white silver model, a grey black or magnesium finish, and a striking blue-ish variant which will match with the Pixel Buds A series, which will be launched alongside these. The Pixel 7a also shares the same shape and size screen bezels as last year's Pixel 6a, so no changes there, but it does see a couple of tweaks to the actual dimensions. The camera bar is actually marginally lower this time around and also matches the design of the Pixel 7 and 7 Pro a little bit more closely, with a metal bar that has a cutout for that camera module as I mentioned. It looks like the bar itself will be matte metal, which matches the $599 Pixel 7 and not the glossy shiny finishes like on the Pixel 7 Pro's white model, and of course the other two are matte, but across the board this should be matte here with the Pixel 7a. The chassis will measure at 152.4 by 72.9 by 9mm, and of course the eagle-eyed among you may have spotted that this is a very minor increase over the Pixel 6a's 152.2 by 71.8 by 8.9mm dimensions. Just whether being 0.2mm taller, 1.1mm wider and 0.1mm thicker is going to be a notable increase, remains to be seen, but it does mean you won't be able to use those cases, and it is an increase nonetheless. The AMOLED display is supposedly rated at 6.1 inches, the same as last year, meaning that the Pixel 7a will be marginally smaller than the 6.3-inch screen used on the Pixel 7. Upgrades though are due on this 1080p display. A 90Hz screen is expected, and this means that it will be the first A-series phone with a high refresh rate panel, something that's very welcome, at least according to us. Other specs include the Tensor G2 processor, a bumped 8GB of RAM as base, and 128GB of non-expandable onboard storage. Another new function is likely to be the inclusion of wireless charging, and this might be something that prospective Pixel 7a buyers have been waiting for since the start of the Pixel A series, which has not had wireless charging, at least potentially, until now. We're also saying goodbye to the Sony IMX363 main sensor after almost 5 years. It's likely being ditched in favour of the 64MP rated Sony IMX787 main sensor and a secondary 13MP Sony IMX712 sensor, and that sensor could also be used for the selfie shooter, which may mean that Face Unlock is coming. We're also waiting to see if the Pixel 7a launch will include features such as super res zoom, guided frame, photo unblur or cinematic unblur like the Pixel 7 series. It's definitely a certainty though that Android 13 will come pre-installed with 3 full operating system updates alongside 5 years of security patches, which have now become standard on Google's newest handsets powered by Tensor. Because of just how closely those prospective spec sheets align with the base Pixel 7, it could encroach heavily upon that device, but now at a cheaper entry price point. The marginally longer update timeline could also make the Pixel 7a a better overall value proposition for anyone shopping for a new device right now or in the not too distant future. So while we're definitely advocating for waiting for the Pixel 7a, especially given those proposed specs, it will shunt aside the Pixel 6a, which is the current mid-ranger. Because Google's A-series smartphones hit store shelves almost a year ago, it will be superseded by that new hardware, as you would expect. Sure, the 6a is almost a year old, but that is still a solid, affordable alternative to the Pixel 7 and 7 Pro as it stands. What's more, that initial $449 retail price, which was impressive in its own right, has come down significantly since June 2022. Even if the Pixel 7a does offer major upgrades over the A series, then the Pixel 6a packs in a great package with just a few caveats. The first generation Tensor processor remains more than capable, and it absolutely smokes most of the mid-range chipsets found in similarly priced handsets, especially those in North America. Sure, the camera utilises that aging Sony IMX363 main sensor. That said, it's competent and it's backed by almost now 5 years of Google's camera's expert tuning and post-processing. And this is another area in which the Pixel 6a ousts many other affordable Android phones vying for the best budget camera experience. You'll need to work out though if you can live with the 60Hz screen in 2023 and beyond. A lack of wireless charging is also a pain point for some of you, and it of course has that slightly outdated design. None of these though should be considered outright deal breakers in our eyes. Now, one of the reasons why we mentioned this, and the biggest bonus, is that with the Pixel 7a on the horizon, and that seems like fire sales are going to be in the near future, and they in many cases have already are in full swing. We've regularly seen the device drop below that $300 mark unlocked, and that'll likely dip even further once Google reveals its predecessor. We're also set to see yet more than just the Pixel 7a over the coming weeks, hopefully at I/O 2023. The long-awaited Pixel Tablet and Pixel Fold are expected to join that growing Made by Google device lineup. It's unlikely that either of these devices will have any major effect on the pricing of your next smartphone, but of course, Google and various carriers out there could offer incentives and deals that bundle in the Pixel Tablet specifically and the Pixel 7a, and this could be an interesting prospect to help you build a mini ecosystem of hardware that will work seamlessly together. None of this is guaranteed, but it is something to think about, especially if you are in the market. Now, the biggest question is, should you buy a phone now or wait for the Pixel 7a? And somewhat annoyingly, we can't give you a definitive answer. However, what we can say is that it will heavily depend upon your own personal situation and circumstances. If you must have the latest and greatest Google chipset or the most recent device, then you can't go wrong with the Pixel 7 or the 7 Pro, which are excellent even 6 months on. Naturally, we're working with leaked information here, but all of the signs point to a marked improvement with the Pixel 7a that might make it worthwhile if you wait and pick one up when the device does officially go on sale. Because it is heavily expected to add a high refresh rate screen alongside wireless charging and that improved camera system, if you're squarely looking at the base Pixel 7 specifically, then we'd say it can't hurt a little, or at least can't hurt to wait a little while longer to see what it does bring to the table. The proposed asking price of the 7a will likely be lower, and if it dips below that $500 mark as expected and matches the Pixel 6a's $449 price, then it could be considered an even better buy than the Pixel 7, which officially starts at $599. And now, this is where things start to get confusing, as if this is the proposed retail pricing that we're comparing these against, then that is a 6-month-old 2022 flagship price. Now we're starting to see this device dip below or way below that price point, and with offers and rebates, it's substantially less than that $599 asking price. Incentives make the Pixel 7 one of the best value propositions on Android right now as it stands. The Pixel 7a launch could have an even greater knock-on effect on that pricing too. Don't be surprised if carriers and retailers begin to offer last year's model at even greater discounts to help clear stock once the Pixel 7a, that brand new shiny device, does arrive. Google is unlikely to discontinue the current gen Pixel 7 and 7 Pro until the weeks preceding the Pixel 8 series launch in late 2023, and that means for the biggest savings, it's wise to wait just to see what the Pixel 7a changes, or at least changes in the buying landscape in the immediate future. Even so, if you simply don't care, that it's definitely might be worth waiting for the Pixel 7a to launch, even if you have no intention on buying one. We'll learn more about what upgrades are due with this handset, plus it has that added benefit. Pre-order bonuses will be confirmed, and any existing models will come down even further in price as a fire sale takes place. It's a win-win for everyone, including those of you not looking to buy right now, or even in the not too distant future. Hopefully though that has helped. Granted, there isn't really anything particularly groundbreaking about what we're saying here. If you're waiting for the Pixel 7a or even the Pixel Fold, which will cost a heck of a lot more, or have you decided to just go for something else entirely in the meantime? Let us know down in the comment sections below. As always though, this is Damien with 9to5 Google saying thanks for watching, and I will speak to you later.